Welcome to another edition of the Ultimate Fighting Chat podcast. We're going to be talking very late now about UFC Fight Night, Holm versus Irene Aldana, the main card. We've already done a show on the prelims. If you want to watch that wonderful, interesting show, which both of us didn't we didn't really like that one, did we?
What, the show or the prelims? The actual fights?
Both.
Correct.
Yeah,
both
correct. Yeah. So I'll have that come up on the screen now if you want to listen to what we've got to say about the prelims of this card. Apologies
really sold it to them, haven't we?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Apologies for the delay. Really sold it to who?
Well, the zero viewers we got.
Right. So,
man.
Yeah. So the prelims. If you want to listen to that wonderful, interesting take on what happened in those fights, by all means, have a go. Like I said, I'll smash it up on the screen. And this is for the main card. Flash Forum on Yas Island, Fight Island, Abu Dhabi, as we know. This one was on Saturday the 3rd of October, so ages ago. And the commentators are Brendan Fitzgerald, Paul Felder, and Dan the Outlaw Hardy. We've already spoken about his Grease Barnett. So, yeah, we don't need to go through things like that. And you know what? I think we should just get straight into these fights and just have done with it. So, shall we try and get... What was that?
Don't want to ask me about my fence. That's what you usually do at the start of every episode.
I don't ask you about your fence every time. Okay, how you doing? That's how it starts.
Yeah, I'm all good. But I agree, let's just blaze through this because this card, we said at the time, didn't we, you don't know how good a card's going to be until you've actually watched it. Although we had our fears that this card could be a bit pony and trap, and it did end up being a trap.
Yeah.
So they.
Okay, well then let's you know what? Straight into the fights then. Dequan, the Tarantula Townsend, 21-11 versus Dusko Todorovic. Yes. Quite good? No, it took ages. 9-0, this bloke.
Yep.
What do you reckon about that? Middleweight fight. Okay. The favourite was Todorovic. The winner was Todorovic by a TKO in round 2. These two are a bit wild and open, but I think it was a good fight, this. Weren't a bad one, considering that they were scat fights. This one was quite good.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember all the fights off the top of my head, so I'm going to take them on a fight-by-fight basis, but I've got a feeling this might have been arguably the best fight on the card.
Yeah, I think it was a good one.
On the main card. Like you said, definitely wild and open, even though Rick won and he's undefeated, that span is there to have a knuckle planted on it.
Of course it is,
I've been a little bit worried. I do think he was good. Like when he got him down on the ground, he was pretty aggressive.
But I also like Townsend because he don't give up. He was always moving, even when he was mounted. He was getting out of it. He was good, even though he was the one in the bad position.
He has since been released.
Who? Townsend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I liked him.
Yeah, well, he's lost all 4 in the UFC, all 4 of his fights.
What I mean by I liked him, look, he's not amazing. I'm just saying that it was a good fight because he didn't just lay there, And I do think that the Todorovic showed a decent skill set. He took him down and got the mount and didn't mess about with it. Like you say, he did loads of calculated, accurate strikes from the top. I thought it was just quite a good fight.
It was quite entertaining. The thing with that Dequan Townsend is it's not that he's lost all 4, but in a couple of fights, because I remember him because I can't remember, he lost the fight.
I know we spoke about him because we spoke about the Tarantula nickname. So we have seen him recently.
That was Jalen.
Oh my God. So there's 2 blokes with the Tarantula name.
That's right.
It's not that's right. It's not even a good one. And then you have it, 2 people have it. I mean, maybe he doesn't know. I wonder why he's called Tarantula. The other one was because he owned tarantulas.
It doesn't matter because he's been cut now, so we're back.
Oh, there's still 1. Yeah, okay, now it's back to 1. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Good
That's all
point.
sorted. But Dana's sorted that out.
Maybe
For
that's
us.
why they got rid of him.
Yeah, they're like, look, we can't handle this. This is too confusing.
Change your nickname or you're out.
Yeah. He's like I said, I remember him because he lost the fight, and it was a little bit of a lackluster affair, and then he kind of turned it around quick. Sometimes you get those people where they kind of do a quick turnaround, and I think it's almost like they want to try and reverse those bad fortunes, so to speak.
Ciphers.
Yeah, but he ended up losing again to Devin Clark, and it was just one of those fights where, I don't know. It's one of those fights. He's a bit of one of those fights where I see glimpses from him, where I think he's better than this bloke he's fighting, but don't see enough of it. He just don't seem to do enough of it. And there was definitely bits in this fight where I thought he could probably, on another day, he might be able to catch this Todorovic and finish him off. But it weren't to be. Like you say, he tried rolling around.
Did.
And he tried scrambling for ages, but he just couldn't get out of that full mount, and the guy just carried on. To be fair to him, not hitting him on the side of the head with the glove in between, he was actually catching him clean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Not with devastating strikes, but it's like, how long can you give a guy to sort of roll around squirming before you kind of go, listen, you're not going to get out of this, forget it's over. So but I mean, he looks strong and capable, that Todorovic, but I think he's going to have a problem with anyone who's a little bit crisp with their hands standing up.
Well, that's why he needs to bang them on their back.
Yeah, I think that will be his path to victory more often than not, because he's, like you said, really open. So yeah, shame for Townsend, but you can't go on a 4-fight losing streak unless you're Dan the greasy hairdo Hardy, can you?
That's true. Yeah, he could do it. And then there's someone the other day as well. He was on Condit was on a 5-er.
There's been a few, but you've got to be someone who's kind of proved your worth, haven't you? Can't just come in the UFC and lose 4. Expect to keep your job. So.
All right. Well, it's enough of that fight. I liked the info about him getting cut and all that. I probably not like him getting cut. I'm just saying, it was a good little bit of extra info, so I appreciate that. But I'm moving on to the next fight. Kyler, the Matrix Phillips, 7-1 versus Cameron Kamchida Else from England, 10-4. This is a bantamweight fight. The favourite was Phillips. The winner was Phillips by a TKO in round 2. Let's go with the nicknames first. The Matrix.
Well, I'm not saying he ripped this off, but that's Lomachenko's nickname, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Well, luckily he ain't in the UFC. Otherwise, one of them would have to go.
I don't think it's his nickname, actually. His nickname's High Tech, sorry. But lots of people... No, but lots of people go, he's in the Matrix because of his, his evasive footwork and head movement and stuff. So people, say it's like, you're entering the Matrix, because of all the bendy Mr. Anderson bullet stuff. But his nickname's actually High Tech. But but regardless, he was all right, wasn't he?
And I do know why he was called Matrix, because I do think he was Matrix-y style, and I do think that Kyler Phillips is good. I came away from that fight going, I like this guy. I think he's decent. So I agree with that. Good, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't particularly like the nickname, so I'm not particularly a fan of the movies for a start.
No, me neither.
Overrated.
Crap,
yeah, people just fell in love too much with the with all the bending around bullets and all that, and then unfortunately that led to a whole raft of other films doing the same kind of crap. So like when Jason Bourne films come out, everybody decided they were going to do that style of fighting now. No one's going to ever have a normal punch up again. Every film had to be that sort of.
I know what you're saying.
Heavily choreographed fight scenes. So yeah,
it was kind of a. I remember at the time, being a fan of the Hong Kong movies, they kind of got the style from there, and as usual, it was nowhere near as good, but it was good for Hollywood. To see Matt Damon fight like that was, quite impressive. I thought it was pretty good, but I saw through it. You know what I mean? When you're watching the real Kungas, you see through these things, but it was still good. Those films were quite good, but like you said, too many afterwards. Forget it. So, look, that were a good fight. That I do remember him doing some pretty powers win shouts, which I didn't think I liked too much. Didn't like his win celebration. And in between the next fight, there was an advert for Proper 12. Did you see it?
Yeah, McGregor walking forward like on a, but with some of the worst graphs I've ever seen in my life.
And backwards, and then forwards, and then...
It was like something from like a 1980s video, like arcade video game or
I
something.
couldn't believe it.
It's like they'd done it last minute and they went, they said to McGregor, listen, you're going to have to do this on your phone or something right now. It was awful, wasn't it? I mean, he looked crap doing it and all, like he looked like a...
Yeah, his legs were all bandy and...
Yeah, it's because he wears those tight, skinny trousers in it. But yeah, I think the angle didn't help. He had like a big sort of like, it looked like he was gurning. I mean, just everything looked crap.
Bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was rubbish.
I'm still mates with him now. I know he'd pay for that, but, supposed to be arguing over stuff, but they had no problem taking the Proper 12 sheets.
Reckon he gets a discount?
No. Well, maybe for being a rostered fighter. Yeah, possible. Yeah, I'm going to say yeah. I reckon he does. Don't deserve one, innit? It's weird, innit? I wouldn't say don't deserve one. That was a crap comment. What I mean is a rich person gets a discount, but someone who comes along who maybe necessarily ain't rich would go, nah, you don't get a discount. Whereas they need the discount more than the rich bloke. Don't mean the rich bloke shouldn't get it because it depends on the reason for the discount, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Whatever.
Well, I hope you got a discount on whoever done the graphs. Let's put it like that because they were terrible.
Well, Nick didn't pay anyone to do those graphs.
Yeah, maybe you got his son to do it by the looks of it. But
bad qual.
Talking of McGregor, we'll link it into this fight.
Okay, then why not?
We haven't spoke about Canada. I don't really know what that's supposed to mean, so I'm just going to have to ignore that.
I didn't hear that. What did you say we haven't spoken about?
Cam Cheetah, you said nicknames. Matrix Phillips.
Yeah, I don't know what Cam Cheetah is, so I banned him.
Yeah, it's a little bit like...
And we can't talk about McGregor yet because we haven't spoken about his surname. And I want you to give him a better, because you're good at this, nickname. His name is Cameron Else. Cameron something else.
Brilliant. I really like it. I was going to say, something like maybe someone else, but try and tie it in with something like that.
Yeah.
But
he's something else, him. You know what I mean?
Something else, yeah.
Have you seen him fight? He's something else.
It's a brilliant one. I mean, and it writes itself. But instead, he's got Cam Cheetah. Now, look, I don't know what Cam Cheetah means. He might go, nah, man, that's something my army mates gave me because that's something we like, the fact that he's a British parachute regiment bloke,
I did like that. Yeah, you reminded me of that. I do remember he was an army bloke. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, and one of the parachute regiment is, rock hard. That isn't just your regular, that's powers.
That's the one we watched that program on, right? That reality show.
Yeah,
they're brilliant. Yeah, great.
Yeah. They're real tough nuts and all
Terry.
That, those blokes. Terry was...
Terry's para, yeah. You get the beret, innit?
Something like that. Stolen Valor. He's a Stolen Valor bloke, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just bought the beret on eBay or something.
Something's happened.
But yeah, so I liked that about that Cameron Else. I mean, I do kind of get behind the British guys, but not religiously. If I think one's a bit of a plank, then I don't support them, But yeah, the fact he was paras as well, I was like, nah, brilliant. Thanks for your service. I do a stone cold on it and all that.
100%.
So I wanted him to do good. The reason I linked it to McGregor is because he had an iron tattoo on his stomach.
Ah, so he did. That's right. Yeah.
It was better than McGregor's though.
It was actually a really good bit of artwork, I remember.
Yeah, I quite liked it and all, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was good. I don't want it on the stomach, but it was decent. Yeah, McGregor's one's all too much blotchy, His one was quite clear.
It's because it's too much colour and it looks a little bit like Diego Sanchez's tattoo on his belly. Sometimes with those on your belly, it can just make it look like you just spilled your dinner down your top.
Well, yeah, we know that, don't we?
It was, a good big head on his gut. So yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it, but his footwork is horrid. His footwork
that's because he's used to dangling from a parachute. That's why.
Well, yeah, I mean, Saints got given an excuse. His footwork was really bad.
I don't want to be nasty, like we say. Inga's army, brilliant, but he weren't very impressive, was he?
No, look, I do think he got a rough one, as in I do think this Phillips is good, right? He looked like looks like he's decent in all facets as well, even though we didn't see much. You know, he looked like he can handle himself in the ground. He looked nice and loose on his feet. You know, he had some kicks, he had punches. He looked really good. But you know, maybe this fella against, say, more a grapple strong guy might have been looked a bit better, but his footwork was just bad. I mean, he's constantly bringing his back foot in first, which basically makes your compromises your balance, because you're almost like you're basically standing waiting for a bus or something. So if somebody throws a strike at you, not in a correct balanced position to avoid it, if someone shoots at you, it's very simple. They can almost clasp their hands right around you straight away.
Yeah, you've kind of given them the legs, yeah.
And more importantly, when you're throwing, well, not more importantly, just as importantly, when you're throwing strikes, you know, you're compromising all the power and speed and any follow-up strikes, because but you know, if you throw a punch now with your feet standing next to each other, you'll have no power, no, you know, you'll fall off balance, everything.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have your base under you, then obviously, you know, that works. Hence why, as a general rule, whichever direction you're going in, you move that foot first and you bring the other one along with it. So if I'm moving forward, I move my front foot forward first, and then I bring my back foot with it.
Well, that allows you to keep the stance that you have at the beginning when you stand still and get yourself into your fighting stance. You maintain that
exactly.
stance. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if I move that way, yeah.
I move my front foot 5 inches, I move my back foot 5 inches.
Yeah.
If I move my front foot 1 inch, I move my back foot 1 inch. Now, if I want to incorporate, say, a little skip step where I shuffle my back foot up to my front foot quickly and then shoot my front foot forward, that's a split second. But he wasn't doing that. He was literally plodding, bringing the back foot in, narrowing his stance, then moving the front foot out. And he was.
Did you notice that did get him taken down? Do you think that made it easier? I didn't notice, you see. So now you've said that, and it was only, I think it might have only been round 2 when he got taken down. But do you think that, I mean, it wouldn't help, right? But maybe it was noted. Maybe it made the takedown easy.
Well, he got taken down against the cage, against the fence. So it wasn't necessarily to do with
crap stance,
stance in the fight ending sequence. But he did get taken down in the first round, I believe. I can't remember if it was because of that. I do remember he kind of threw a punch, and I think Phillips ducked under it and just basically slammed him onto the mat. It's just not going to help. You know, he was actually did have his feet close together. But you know, like when you're up against the fence, that's the first thing they do, right? They split their legs. It's difficult to grip your hands together behind them.
That's right, yeah.
Like I say, he kind of does that work for you. So yes, it's just it needs fixing. Is the truth?
I told you, it's parachute legs.
Huh?
Parachute legs. They put them together and took the knees and do the roll when they hit the floor. You know, it's what he's trained to do. Parachute. So
maybe it's a habit he needs to get out of. He was crossing his feet over a lot of times. This and the other. The feet were my biggest issue. But there you go. Hey, I'm sure he's listening, and I'm sure he'll make the necessary adjustments for the next. But
look, in all seriousness, right? I know he's got coaches and everything. I know he's in the UFC. Yeah, this is, again, no disrespect. The guy's in the UFC. We've thanked him for his service. But in all seriousness, if no one has told him that, if it's just habit and he just needs to unlearn it and break it, fine. You know, his coach keeps telling him, but he hasn't quite got it out of his system yet. It's fine. But honestly, if no one has told him that, because I didn't notice it, then he does need telling, and he needs to listen to the podders. But listen, I ain't joking. If we presume that he hasn't been told by somebody. If his coaches ain't told him, no one's going to tell him, because who cares or whatever. Who cares or notices? Like, I'm bothered, but I ain't bothered. I ain't his coach or anything, and I never noticed. You noticed. You've brought it up. If no one has told him, it would do him some good listening to the podcast. So that's up to you. Don't listen to it then, and keep your feet together, and keep getting taken down, and keep losing, and then you'll get tarantula cut. So it's up to you. It's up to you.
Well, here's the thing. That's if I'm right. I mean, that's just what I spotted. A coach might go, "Nah, he's brilliant when he does this though because of X, Y, and Z."
No,
I
no,
can't
no.
think.
It's not. It's not. If you're right, it's
It's
real.
a quick little sort of tip for how to sort of address the problem and fix it. Something I would do sometimes would be if you get like something like a resistance band, not one with say heavy resistance, but with light resistance. If you make 2 loops, ankle loops at each end, and you make it the right distance for your legs, you know, based on your height and length of your legs, for your legs to be apart in your natural stance. Let's say, for example, however far apart that might be, say 50 centimeters, whatever it might be. If you make it that distance, and then when he shadow box, if that band slips to the floor too much up around sort of the ankles or the calf muscles, and then if it sort of slips down to the floor, you know that you've compromised that tension in that band too much.
Yeah.
So you've closed your too close together much, because the slack is bang.
Can it be like, with a bit of string
up in the middle end, and it will drop to the floor. So you'll feel the tension on the resistance.
Put a bell in the middle.
Sorry.
Put a bell in the middle. When it hits
something
the floor or something,
when it makes a noise or something.
Plastic ball, saying that it's a golf ball, saying it hits the floor and makes a crack noise.
Exactly, so it makes a donk or a little noise.
Yeah.
But just something that when you feel that your legs are getting too close together, the slack builds up in the rope, and you'll get that little tink, and you'll hear that noise, and you'll go, "My feet have come too close together." So something like that, and obviously because it's a resistance band, it's got enough tension that you can obviously elongate your stance, which is fine. It's fine to take your front foot first, right, and extend your stance. But then as long as you don't bring your back leg too far, you won't hear the little ting, or the band won't fall loose to the floor. So it's a simple fix, is the truth.
And it won't work as well with a bit of string.
Yeah, it'll work with a bit. It'll work with a bit of string. The problem
you're saying you can probably feel it a bit more with a band, can't you?
The problem with a bit of string is it's got no flexibility or tension in it. So it's just, once it's pulled tight, he won't be able to elongate his stance when he's shadow boxing, if you know what I mean. So you want something like something made out of rubber that does give you that little bit of leeway, of elongating your stance, or even going a tiny bit shorter than normal, perhaps, because it's all right to make minute errors, but there's no tension in it. Do you get what I'm saying? So when you tie it between your ankles, you won't be able to take a step forward. It's like tying your shoelaces together, right? Tie your shoelaces together. When you take the first step, you're going to fall on your face.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it needs to be something like a resistance band or something like that.
Right. Well, there's a good tip for you. Yeah. If it works, you can change your name to, something else.
Yep, and something else. It's a brilliant name, that, mate. Really good.
Thanks, mate. Well, look, if he listened to the show, normally I say, and he is, but because he's a lesser known fighter, he probably doesn't know about the show. So he possibly isn't listening. Maybe we'll have to directly tweet him. 2 things: nickname, stance, footwork, resistance band, fix. Up to you. Do it, win your next fight, and be proud of it because your name gets announced, with pride. Or stay the same and get done again. It's entirely up to you. I'll leave that up to you, and that's it. And I'm moving on to the next fight.
Yes, please.
Because this is a real crud card. I've just looked at the rest of the fights. It's a bad one. Main card. So the next one is Germaine, the Iron Lady, the Randamie, 9-4, versus Julianna, the Venezuelan Vixen, Pena, 10-3. Now, the favourite here was the Randamie. Now, look, I think the Randamie is all right. But if I did a pre-fight show, I would have gone for Pena on this because, I think she's actually all right. I don't think she's all right anymore, by the way. Not anymore. Having a baby and being away for ages is the excuse I'm going to give, but terrible, terrible quote, and disgusting shorts. Shouldn't have worn them.
I don't remember the shorts.
Disgusting. They're bad shorts, right? I know others wear them or whatever, and you go, why are these particularly disgusting? Well, I don't know. I don't know why. But all I'm saying is I would put them on out the back and gone, on TV? Nah. Like I said, I'm not even going to put them swim shorts on that you got me. I definitely ain't putting these yellow skid shorts on. Terrible qual. Terrible shorts. So, no good. And only other thing I've got to say on this fight is that she lost by a guillotine in round 1. So the Randamie done her with a choke in round 1. And Pena was out for ages. But I guess because she ain't Dan Hardy's mate, that's all good, right? Because I never heard no complaints. She was out for ages before the ref jumped in and done anything about it.
You mean round 3 she got?
No shouting out.
You got choked in round 3, though, you mean?
Oh, was it? Okay, sorry. Round 3 then. It wasn't round 3.
I
It
wish
was
it was
round
round
3, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right, because it was a length, boring fight before that. Yeah, round 3. Well, that was, like I said, she were out for ages, but never heard no kicking up no stink. I guess got to be his mate. Crap.
Well, maybe that, or maybe he's been told, rein it in. Calm yourself down.
I did not think of that. Maybe he's been told, keep your opinions to yourself, do your job, which we've agreed is to comment on things, but not to try and change it on the spot.
Not to comment directly to the official. Well, so it's fine.
Correct,
it's
yeah.
absolutely fine if he said on the headset that stoppage was late for me. He's got to get in there soon. If that's okay, but you can't be standing up, pointing or whatever, or directing your displeasure directly at the ref or confronting the ref. I think a little bit was,
No, you're right. It's completely different.
But that to me, that's long short. I've got no problem with him saying anything he wants. If he wants to say like Herb Dean done a crap job, Herb Dean was well late there, Herb Dean needs to be in a better position. All those criticisms are all fine.
I want that.
Yeah, they're all good. But you can't direct it at the person directly. You can, not at that time. Do it later on.
Yeah.
Do it after the show. Do it out back. Whatever. Just not then. That was the only issue with that Hardy thing. But with regards to Pena,
disgusting shorts on. I know that. I've said that already.
Well, you keep going on about the shorts. I mean,
they're horrible.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, yellow's a difficult colour to pull off.
Moraes.
Yeah, I don't think they look good on him.
I did. I liked his yellow shorts. I went there. They're good. But then he ain't wearing painted, by the way. He's just wearing shorts.
Yeah, normal beach shorts or whatever. But, yeah, I mean, yellows, I would probably say yellow followed by orange are my two most difficult colours to pull off. And you know me, I look good in almost anything. But yellow and orange...
I've noticed you wear anything.
What?
Horrible trousers. I mean, you can't... Obviously, they don't make... You need a tailor. They don't make trousers for your bod, your legs, whatever. And that's understandable, right? They don't. Why would they? But off-the-peg trousers, they don't work on you. That's it. I've not seen one good pair. As a matter of fact, they're all horrible. Terrible around the crack. They all ruche up at the bottom, make loads of lines at the bottom. What's all that about? Like concertina at the bottom. Terrible.
Yeah, well, what?
Nothing. No, it doesn't change the person in the trousers. Still a good bloke and everything, but they're just horrible trousers.
You wear those Reebok flimsy ones that show your knob off, so whatever. I mean, I'd rather have a few concertina lines at the bottom of my trousers than me showing off.
Showing off the actual concertina.
Yeah, the real shrivel. So,
yeah, well, that's a fair point, right? That is a fair point, but
there's hardly any guys that look good in trousers and stuff like that. But for some reason, clothes, they don't bother with guys. So like women, they spend ages on the right cut.
On the cut, yeah.
They fit, nice and tight around their ankles and their thighs and their butts and all that sort of stuff. But it's almost like they spend all the time and the material on that, and then they go, oh, don't we need to do a male version as well? And they go, yeah, what we got
straight,
left? Yeah, just two strips denim. So right, sew them together and get them out of it. That's what it seems like to me, because I don't check guys out, but I very rarely see a guy and go, "Hey, those trousers look good." That's how I want my trousers to look. 9 times out of 10, I know you say my trousers look rubbish, but most of the time I see other blokes' trousers and go, "Ooh, they look."
Yeah, well, I don't notice. I suppose, yeah, I don't notice.
Well, most people.
But
what about if you got the young trendy guys? They've all got the ones that are too tight these days.
Terrible.
You've got the guys that wear all the ones with rips in them, or even worse, those little like paint splotches. Like it looks like they've been through the wash too many times, or they've spilled some paint. Yeah, they're even worse. You remember Josh Koscheck used to wear women's jeans?
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, you know, in the Ultimate Fighter 1. Is it? Was
Oh,
he?
yeah, because they sat really like low on his hips.
That's right. They're all
I
going
remember
out.
the jeans, and I remember the shot. I just didn't know they were. I didn't remember that they were women's. But now,
Yeah,
as soon as you said it, I got a shot of him with no top and the jeans, and they were all like, just above his bum cheeks.
that's right. Yeah,
Women cut. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he admitted that they were women's jeans on the show because they all got taken out to the bar or whatever, didn't they? Because they've been booked up in the house for weeks. And I think him and Florian both had women's jeans.
Well, look, you haven't tried a pair of women's jeans on, have you?
No, definitely not.
Well,
Even if
maybe
they
you
look good,
should.
I won't wear them because I know they're women's jeans. And if
So
I
what?
ever,
If they look better. Listen, you wear the trousers you wear now, mate, and you go out with
if
them.
I ever got caught in them, then forget it. I don't mind wearing women's trainers, so trainer that's got Nike tick or something. But I ain't wearing women's jeans, like low cut jeans to show off my thong or whatever. No chance.
But
No
you're
chance.
wearing the jeans you're wearing now, and that's
Sorry?
all right.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm not wearing
Just because
women's.
they're men. What about if the women's ones look better? The ones you're wearing, I mean, terrible when you wear them.
Well, I don't think
Fine.
they look that bad.
Well,
Well, I don't.
you don't look at you walking along. I can see it from behind. I look at it and see it. So
You've
let
taken
me
a
do a
couple of
vid of it
photos.
next time.
No, you've taken a couple of photos and I've looked back at them and gone, oh, they look naff. But there's just not that many.
Sorry, mate.
So, like you say, my legs are my legs, my bum's my bum.
Yeah.
And, there's not much more I can do about it. In fact, I saw an old video of me shadow boxing the other day in a pair of
Oh God, how disgusting, self-indulgent.
tracksuit bottoms. And
Watching yourself do punches. Ridiculous.
that martial arts gym you go to?
Yeah.
On an advert for it.
I didn't agree it.
See you later. Right. So
Took a few copies that he had home though.
And as I walked, I mean, maybe you can confirm or deny this because I don't know. But as I walked off after shadowboxing, it looked like I had a pear-shaped bottom half. Have I got a wide backside or something?
No, there's nothing.
Hips? Weird, eh?
Oh, I don't know. Do you remember your dad did tell you when you were playing pool?
No, he just told me I had some fat on the back, didn't he?
What, the Capri Suns? Is that what he...
Yeah, fat building.
No, I haven't noticed that. What trousers were you wearing when you shadowboxing? Not them Nike tracksuits.
Yeah,
you deserve it.
Them. Yeah.
Well, then you deserve it. Right, so your normal jeans, especially them grey ones, and them blue ones, right? They're bad. But them Nikes, they're terrible, mate. They need binning.
Nah, I'm wearing them now.
Oh, for God's sake, you still got them. It's been years. And listen, the problem with them is they are... Okay, I had a comparison to what they're like, but I'm not going to say it, right? But they are wide at the top and narrow at the bottom. They are. I don't wear them. I can't stand them.
Yeah, they're like the old British World War One army trousers.
Exactly, yeah.
Leather boots or
yes.
with the little pantaloons at the top.
That's what I like. They sort of go out where the pockets go. They have little diamonds in them and go out. So, yeah, it's your own fault. So it's not your bod, it's them trousers.
Well, maybe.
It's not maybe. I actually said to you, unless you're wearing them Nikes, and you've agreed it. Other branded trousers are available.
They got a hole in the bum and in the ankle area. So when I wear them,
that's not a reason to not wear them.
No, but when I wear them, I make sure I wear black underwear so no one can really tell.
Brilliant.
Good idea, isn't it?
Get the most out of them, innit? I told you they were years old. Good then, isn't they? No, they ain't good. They ain't lasted. They've got holes.
Yeah. There's holes in the pockets.
You wear them like
I put my phone in the right pocket, slides down my leg and hits the floor. There's no...
It don't hit the floor because they're so tight around the ankles, around the bottom. It just sits on the top of them bloody boots. Well, anyway, you got anything else to say about this Randamie fight? Or
Look, Randamie is one of those really frustrating fighters that you feel like if she was just a bit more aggressive or assertive or whatever, she could probably beat up these girls a hell of a lot more.
She can punch and kick. Get on with it.
Yeah, she can punch and kick. She's got a great physique for not just for the weight division, but for women's fighting. She actually, looks like she's been trained from an early age, and she's got one of those sinewy, strong-looking bodies. you know, she looks stronger than other fighters, you know, in the striking department, right? But she just don't do anything.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah,
know,
she could have
Pena
picked
will,
Pena up, yeah. If he's going to stay on the
yeah, but
feet, then sort it
Pena
out.
almost got her in round two, didn't she? She won round two.
Yeah.
She was kind of pursuing the takedown in round three, which I think, you know, she got choked out. So good on the Randamie and showing that she is, you know, can do other stuff. But you know, it was one of those fights where I got the impression if Pena got that takedown, she probably would have won the fight. You know, she just, you know, sat on top of her for the rest of the round and probably would have won the fight.
That's exactly it. But while it was on the
yeah,
feet, which was most of the fight, she should have just dealt with it.
that's right. Yeah, I mean, I just think, yeah, she's frustrating for me. It would be
Yeah,
one.
agreed.
I'll be in the corner just doing my nut, going, I know you could be quite, you know, impressive in the gym, on the pads, on the bag, but when you get in there, you're just, I don't know, just too relaxed with it. Maybe, I don't know, just, and that's happened in quite a few of her fights, right, where they've become sort of quite boring, dull,
Yeah,
stalemate
she's sort of
affairs.
behaving like she's got loads of time, you know, like, I don't know.
Like it's a 12-round fight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah. It's like, you ain't got that much time. You've got to get rid of this you've got 3 5-minute rounds to deal with this. And like you said, if she just gets taken down twice, say in 2 of those rounds, that's it. She's lost that fight. Don't throw enough. I agree. Don't do enough. Won it, nice one, you know, but if you go back up against, say, Nunes or whatever, you're going to have to, like they say, make it a dogfight, right? You're going to have to get in there and have a smash.
Yeah, be a bit more active.
Yeah.
Just put yourself in harm's way a bit more as well and all that.
Yeah.
Especially against someone like Pena, where she really had or should have had no fear of being knocked out or whatever. The chances of her getting clobbered and dealt with in that fight were, you know, on the feet, but we're talking hundreds to one. You know, it looked like that would never have happened in a month of Sundays. So she could have afforded to have been, you know, stay in the pocket a bit more and been a bit more aggressive, but she didn't. But she still got the job done. So good for her. Bad for Pena. But you know, whatever.
But hopefully what Pena will do, because she might like what happens with you. I mean, I did try and help you by taking pictures of behind. You said I've even seen some pictures of your trousers and your legs. Hopefully now she's watched it on telly, because you know, out the back she just walked out. But now she's watched it on telly. She might. I doubt she's going to wear them shorts again. I'll tell you what. We'll make note of that when she fights again. If she does, we'll see if she's wearing them yellow skid shorts again. Right? Then we'll know if they're good or not, or if she noticed it or not.
She'd definitely fight again, wouldn't she? She's still one of the sort of
wasn't very good.
No, but she's still one of the highest ranked fighters in that division, isn't she? So
weren't good.
Yeah, but you know, first fight back, I think she'll come back.
Not in them shorts. All right, next fight. Yorgan, the Mad Titan De Castro. I think I quite like that. Goes with the Castro bit, doesn't it? Sort of like he's some sort of nutcase leader of a army, that sort of thing. Versus,
the Mad Titan, did you say?
Yeah, Yorgan, the Mad Titan De Castro. It doesn't flow or anything, but I quite like the aggressiveness of it. It's like, listen,
I like the mad bit. But that's about it. The rest of it's garbage. Go on.
Right. Versus Carlos Boy Felipe. So his nickname is Boy, Boi. And just, you know, I like it. This was a heavyweight fight. Double sag bods, especially Felipe. But you know what? I liked Felipe. And you you must have known that I was going to like him because of all the chats and everything. He's brilliant. You know what he was? Fun. He's interesting and fun for me.
I found him a bit of a mug.
Oh,
but that Mad Titan needs to change his nickname. And
oh yeah,
yeah, the Sag Titan.
Oh God!
I just thought that off the top of my head. But no, it's because he's the guy that Greg Hardy not so long ago. And do you remember there was a guy that we spoke about and we said, look, he actually looked all right for about the first few minutes, and then he literally threw nothing for the rest of the fight. It was him, yeah.
Yeah, I also remembered him and thought, this guy's actually quite good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for the first couple of minutes of that Greg Hardy fight, I was like, oh, this guy's pretty decent, actually. And then after that, he threw nothing. And I thought, did he get injured? Did he do nothing? I've seen another fight where he literally done nothing. He didn't even do anything for the first 2 minutes. He done nothing for the whole 15. this time. He took the whole night off.
Well, they did say in that Hardy fight, I remember roughly, I believe it was that fight, that he threw a kick and might have hurt his toe or something like that. But the excuse this time ain't there. And he just kept bulldozering into Felipe and shoving him into the fence. And then that Kevin Sataki bloke, the ref, just kept... Look, he can't just be bored and go, well, I'm going to keep separating this. But did you notice he just kept separating it? He separated it. And then Castro just went, yeah, no worries. I'm just going to put my head down, smash into Felipe, bang him up against the fence again. And then Sataki was like, yeah, you can do that, but separate, fight. What are you saying? I mean, what do you think about that? I don't know if I liked it. I mean, if I was Castro, I'd be getting right on my nerves, saying, listen, I've got no breath. Stop separating me. It's kind of good, though, because it made the fight a bit more interesting. It's like, no. He kind of forced them to fight. Didn't work, because all he did was do the same thing and then get separated and the same thing. The whole of round 3 was just that, nothing else. So it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I stand on the sort of the separations, hand-ups and stuff like that, just because...
Well, I won't bother asking then.
No. What I mean by that is like...
Crap comment that was.
It's one of those things that's like, okay, I might not be doing much, but at the same time, doesn't this other guy or girl have to show that they have the ability to take me out of this position?
Correct.
You know what
I agree.
That's why I don't even like rounds that much, because you can have a fight where you've got a guy exactly where you want him at the end of a round, and then a bell goes, and it's just like, well, that's not a real fight. As real as it gets. It's like you either get out of that position or you don't. That's why, in some ways, it would be better if it was just a 15-minute non-stop round. 15-minute time limit smash up. Just judge the fight as a whole piece rather than 3 rounds.
I prefer that.
When people talk about it's dodgy decisions, stuff like that, I actually think it would eradicate a lot of dodgy decisions, because a lot of time the reason a decision seems dodgy is because you can have a couple of 50-50 rounds, and then you can have a round where a guy absolutely levers the other guy, say, for the last round. But because the other rounds were 50-50, they go to the guy who got leathered in the last round. And so you look at, well, the guy who just maybe scraped those first 2 rounds has won this fight. But the only guy that done any damage or actually kind of, if you like, done anything worthy of winning the fight was the guy who's now lost. Because
of course, but the guy won, within the constraints or confinements of the sport rules. 3 rounds, you only have to win 2. Don't matter what happens in the 3rd.
Yeah, unless you get 10-8, which is very rare. So it's just, I think it would eliminate stuff like that. So I think 15-minute non-stop round, although obviously not good for people like the Castros who struggles with a 3-minute break, 2-minute break in between.
Well, I don't know in the UFC who makes these decisions, but whoever it is, they'll be listening. So when they change it to a 15-minute 1-round fight, you know why. Because they heard you say it. They heard your reasoning behind it. And that's why they changed it. And I'm sick and tired of giving people all these suggestions, helping them out, and no one even gives us any shout-outs on that. They just, it's all take. That's what it is.
It is, yeah. But, even if you go well, look, that's, 15 minutes is too long without breaks in between. Okay, so for non-title fights, make it 10 minutes, and title fights, make it 15 minutes. Non-stop. No breaks in between. Breaks.
Well, let's say the Pride was 10 minutes, wasn't it? I think it was, I don't know what
wasn't it. A 10-minute round and then another round
or 5 and 2 10s, or 5 and a 10 or something like that. Anyway, I used to know, but I can't remember. It's been ages. I do think it was 2 times, but one of them was definitely a 10, and it was judged as a whole, not on rounds per round.
I'd be interested for them to try it, maybe, just for one card. Go, the main event's going to be 15 minutes, no break in between, and the rest of the 10 minutes.
Well, on Invicta, and it's good to use events like that, again, no disrespect to Invicta or whatever, but smaller things like that to try stuff out. They're trying out, is it called the live scoring, right?
Mm.
And so they should try, use it for something like that and go, you guys try this out, it's just for one event, because it's less upset if it goes wrong or whatever. You can monitor a bit more before you try it out on the big UFC and change something that people expect it to be. And now, speaking of that, I might as well ask you, what about this live scoring? I mean, how's that ever going to come up? And it just did. So as it did, I'm not going to skirt over it. Live scoring, fighters knowing where they stand after each round. They have tried it in Invicta, or they're doing it in Invicta, I believe. And I don't know what the results have been, whether people like it or hate it. I just know that they're trying it there. What do you think about that? Right. Okay. So the next fight is...
takes away a little bit of the mystique of the fight. But
you know...
I can see it from
both
angles.
We don't know either, do we? So we don't know. Sometimes, do we ever know? Did they ever let it... Did they ever tell us on the broadcast?
Say, for example, in amateur boxing or Olympic amateur boxing, they've done it. They do it on a point scoring basis. So Bisping would have loved it, but they've done it on a point scoring basis, where you had I can't remember how many judges it was, but if they all pressed your buzzer, so either red or blue corner, they pressed your buzzer all within a certain time frame, then that got noted down as a scoring punch. They didn't all have to do it. It had to be sort of like 3 out of 5 or whatever. I can't remember the exact rules. And you would know at the end of each round, you'd be able to say, listen, you're 12 points to 8 down. So the last round, you could be a little bit more aggressive because you knew you were chasing a 4-point deficit. And so sometimes, you've got some real exciting ends to fights where people... But
the bloke on who's winning at that moment, who doesn't have to be aggressive, also knows, right, that...
He also knows that I can just be a little bit more cagey this fight, clinch a lot more, try and stalemate it.
And he's also going to know the bloke's going to come out hard and all that stuff, for sure. They always say that, don't they? He's probably going to come out hard this round, but he don't know for sure that's going to happen. And he might not have the energy to do it. But now he knows for sure, I ain't winning this unless I, get a 10-8 or get for a draw or knock him out or submit him or whatever. So do you not think it's good then to have it? Okay, I've got 2 questions. Is it good for us as viewers? Is it good for fans to know for sure what's going on? Is that going to make any difference to you? Make it more interesting, more exciting? And what's it going to be like for the fighter and the coaches?
Well, what
would you prefer it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a topic. Maybe should have been put aside for its own chat.
I think it's a good topic. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Off the top of my head, if you had a fighter who was given a round that perhaps the crowd don't agree with, and then the judges all hear boo and all that when they hear that, how that round was scored. I know a judge should have a mind that isn't influenced. But is that going to influence them in the next round to be like, oh, maybe I got that wrong? Am I looking at the wrong stuff? Do I need
Can't help it. They're human, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I just don't think. I like the secrecy of it. I like going into, hearing the scores and going, oh, like there was a score the other day on one of the UFCs where, one of the judges gave it one way, then one of the judges gave it the other way, then, the other one getting 9-27. You were a bit like, oh, blimey, which way is this going to go? And that created a real sense of anticipation, a bit of excitement. And you'd obviously lose that if you knew which way the judges had scored the first couple of rounds. I think I would like to know. Because I'd like to know, look, those 2 rounds were tight. I think I've done enough.
No, you need to clarify. You'd like to know as a fighter.
Yeah.
Not as a fan.
No, yeah, as a fighter.
There are 2 different things there. The secrecy thing you've sounded like from the fans' point of view, that you like not knowing because you're not sure what the result's going to be. And by, say, mid-round 3, you'd know who's won. Now, at the moment, you don't. But as a fighter, you'd want to know, yeah?
I think so, yeah. I think that's my initial position on it. Is as a fan, I think you've got to bang on there. As a fan, I don't want to know. I want the excitement. I want the tension right up till the scores being read. Both guys with their hands in the air. That version. Not knowing which way it's going to go. I like that from a selfish point of view. I want to know if 2 tight rounds that I feel like could have gone my way. I would like. If they didn't go my way, because I know that the judges prefer a bit more of a grapple-heavy approach or whatever, I would like to know so I can go, I'm going all out this round.
You're saying about it, yeah.
Yeah, to reverse it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's just how I feel. I mean, would you want to know as a fighter?
Well,
do you think it
best
be it and make
because I want to know. Yeah, I would want to know. And I think that the reasoning is pretty common sense, that they're both selfish, if you like. As a fan, you wanted to make it more exciting and not know what's going on. So it adds that tension. So as a fan, you're making the sport more enjoyable to watch. And as a fighter, it's a selfish thing. You want to know so that you can adjust your game plan or whatever you need to do, because the judges don't always get it right in their opinion. So even if they go, what? I just won those 2 rounds. Don't matter. Guess what? You think you did, but you actually didn't, because it don't matter what you think. It matters what the judges do. And the judges have said you lost those 2 rounds. Just say in that scenario, then I'd have to go, well, no matter what, I'm losing this unless I mash this guy up. But if I didn't know, then I would go out round 3 and go, look, I've got this anyway. Not saying I ain't going to try and get a finish, but I've got this. But to know is better for a fighter, I think.
Can you think of another sport where you don't know how you're doing in the competition until it's essentially too late? So I'm trying to think, basketball, you obviously know the score at the time.
I know what's happening. It's up on the boards, right?
Baseball, football, tennis, golf, Formula One, where you are on the track.
It's boxing, right? You're just talking about, it's just fighting that you don't know, right?
Is there any other sport that you can off the top of your head where you don't, snooker, the score? Every sort of sport, you seem to know where your position is, except for this one.
That can ruin people, though, sometimes. See, snooker was quite a good example, and tennis, things like that. It seems to be a lot of the times it's pretty hard to make a comeback when you're getting really mashed up. Mentally, you kind of go, forget it, man, I've lost this. So that might happen in fighting as well if you started to know the score.
Yeah, but I think if you're getting mashed up in a fight, you kind of know it. And, say, for example, I don't think, let's take Tyron Woodley, right? He was mentally mashed up after round 1.
Yeah.
I don't knowing the scores or not knowing the scores would have changed a thing. I think
but he's still crap.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I just think that most fighters who would be mentally defeated because they're not doing that well in a fight, I don't think if you said to them, you are definitely losing, it makes a difference. I think that they're either mentally defeated or not. You've either got that. Do you remember that guy we liked, Damon Martin? That he kept going back to his corner, going, "Don't care, I'm still."
Don't think his name was Damon Martin, though.
It's Damon Jackson. They've done the same mistake that they done on the broadcast. That bloody journalist who I don't even really know or anything. I just know him from UFC events when he comes up on Twitter. I don't follow him. I don't know it, and he's done me as well. But anyway, Damon Jackson, you've either got the attitude of of being defiant and thinking you're still going to win this, or you ain't. I don't think someone going. If anything, if you've got the right attitude, it will just spur you on even more. Someone like a Jeremy Stevens, if you said you're 2 rounds down, he's going balls to the wall in that last round.
Yeah, because it's not that easy, is it? Because you might have the mental thing, but you might be injured, mashed up, I don't know, blood going in your eyes, or can't breathe properly because your nose is all smashed out. It's not that easy, is it? Even if it's not that easy in fighting to just go, well, it's all right, I'll just change this. And you might not be as good as the other bloke. There is that to be said as well. You just might not be capable enough. You might not have the skill. But I think it's good to know. I'd say it's less pressure, take a bit of pressure off the corners, because if I was a corner man, I'd just be sitting there going, well, you know what's happening, right? You're losing. So you know what you've got to do. Now, I'm going to help him figure out how to get the win. That would be my job, but it wouldn't be to try and convince him, listen, you're down 2 rounds. It's like, you are down 2 rounds. That's it. So I don't know. I'd like to know some feedback on Invicta. I don't know if the fans know. I suppose you would know if you can hear the corners. I don't know if it's open as in you can see it up on the board and they're open with it. I don't know. I don't watch Invicta. Maybe we should, because I think it's available on Fight Pass. So maybe we should watch an Invicta, see how they do it, see whether it's just open or it's just the cornermen and the fighters that know. I'm sure if they know, you'd figure it out anyway. But how open is it? And I'd like a bit of feedback. How's it going? How's the trial going? Do the fighters like it? Do the fans like it? Whatever. I don't know. It'd be nice to know. I don't know how many events they've done it for.
I can't imagine a fighter not wanting to know. So I think they want to know what they need to do to win a fight. Because how many of them go, oh, what? I got robbed and this, that, and the other. This won't stop robberies, but it will at least give you more of a sense of urgency and a chance to do something about it. So if there's a round you definitely thought you won, and then you find out you didn't, it gives you that opportunity to go, right, I'm I can do something about this still. Whereas if you're in your head thinking, well, I got round 1, you know, mentally that will change your fighting style a little bit. So I think fighters would definitely like to know. Fans probably wouldn't like to know, just to keep the excitement or what have you.
Yeah.
But like I say, if you do my method of just having one continuous 10-minute round and judge it as a whole, it won't matter.
Correct. But
So,
I don't know who needs to be listening to this to take that on board, what person to pick out. You know, it can't be Dana White every time. I'm sure there's someone who deals with this side of things. Maybe the commission.
yeah,
Don't they set the rules?
Ratner. I'll get on the blood. Ratner.
Yeah.
I know he's listening.
I
But
know he's listening as well. Yeah.
Just to get back to this fight, I thought it stunk.
We haven't got back to the fight. I haven't even announced the. Oh, to Castro.
So, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, go on then.
We've said
that
it
stunk.
before.
Did you say?
Yeah, it stunk.
You thought it stunk?
Yeah, it stunk. It was,
all right.
De Castro, if he can't be bothered, I can't be bothered.
Oh yeah, you've done a Maguire on it. Yeah.
So yeah, get rid of him. And the other guy, I mean, he was okay.
I liked him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was a bit...
telling the ref, look, he's not doing nothing and all that. He's brilliant.
What did he say at the end? Didn't he call someone out or something at the end as well?
He did do some chats at the end.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I think he said, you know, me and you, we were meant to fight before. You know, I'm just doing a little bit of the accent there.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but
I can't, but you're right.
Fight someone and it obviously got kind of pulled or what have you. Anyway, I ain't bothered. Yeah, I wasn't overly impressed. And
we're crappy.
Talking of overly impressed, that's a good segue, isn't it?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, what, by the whole card? Or Holly, the preacher's daughter, Holm. I mean, look at that record, 13-5. It says it all, really, doesn't it? The so-called veteran with a bucket load of experience. You might have a load of combat experience if you add the boxing to it, but that's pretty weedy. Versus Irene Aldana from Mexico, 12-5. So a good matchup. I mean, almost exactly the same record. Favourite was Holm. Winner was Holm by unanimous decision. Oh, hang on, it's women's fight. Okay, yeah, sorry. Oh, no, Randamie.
Yep, that's right.
Submission. And not an armbar.
That's right.
Way to go. Love it. Come on. Netherlands. Beautiful stuff. So there you go. So this fight then, Holly Holm, Irene Aldana. Yeah. Let me know what you thought of it.
Well, I don't know why. I mean, I'm assuming that the only reason Aldana was in a main event was because Holm was main eventing, right? There's no way that Aldana's done anything to warrant a main event slot. So I'm assuming that she got in by virtue of the fact that she was fighting Holly Holm, right?
Well,
can we agree that? Because Holm only does main events.
Maybe it was meant to be Glover again or something like that, and I don't know. No, I think this was always meant to be the main event. You know, I don't remember it.
I think so as well. I mean, I don't know whether Holly's got some pictures of Dana White on the toilet or something.
Well, apparently she's massively popular. Still is.
Is that just because she bust up Rousey?
No, you know, she's popular in the town, Albuquerque and all that, isn't it? And
so what? That's one part of America. How bloody big is Albuquerque?
Oh, I don't know. Look, I don't get it either. I don't understand it either. I really don't, because look, I can't deny it. This was, I'll use some real run-of-the-mill terminology. That was a good performance by Holm. It was a boring fight. It was a good performance, as in got the win easy over the up-and-comer. I would have picked Aldana. That's what I'm trying to say here, right? And I would have been wrong. That the experience worked. That, you know, she's got a bit more of an all-round MMA game. I mean, that Aldana weren't good. Neither of them were good, but Holm was much better just because she manipulated the sport better, you know, and used the sport better and went, oh, I'll take down, I'll do this, I'll stay on the outside, I'll move around a bit. You know, she just did more and won that fight easy. But the truth is that Aldana must figure out a way to win. This is a 5-round fight. So it does make it worse that for 5 rounds, you are going to do the same thing. Because those takedowns weren't every 5 seconds or anything like that. It wasn't constantly takedowns. It was loads and loads of time on the feet. Loads of it. Can't just keep doing the same thing and expect to win or get somewhere. I mean, if I was her, I would have just ended up tapping out and going, just forget it. You know, what was the point? do something different. Try and win the fight. Now, just walking forwards isn't trying to win the fight. That's just walking forwards. That's what that is. It's not improving anything. I don't know if I blame the coaches or blame her. It weren't like she was all dizzy and smashed in and wobbling all over the place, so she can't think straight. Maybe it was the bright lights. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just she can't fight. I don't know what it was, but I think she's been all right before this fight. Now, I don't think Holm's particularly amazing, but I don't understand what that Aldana's game plan is, so to speak. I mean, and if your game plan ain't working, when do you decide what round? Is it halfway through round 1? Is it after 2? Because you go, well, I need to win the next 3, and I think I lost the first 2. When do you make a decision of that's not working, try something else? When? Because she didn't make that decision. That's your go. I've got nothing else to say on it.
Yeah, I've got nothing to say about this fight, full stop.
Am I right, though? When are you going to do something? You've got to do something. You've got to change your...
That's it. That is easier said than done.
I know, of course.
I think she got to a position where she weren't getting mashed up on the feet, as we know. Holm doesn't do that. She likes to punish the air in front of your face. So she wasn't really getting mashed up on the feet.
Losing.
Yeah, losing. Outscored and outstruck, but not devastatingly so. I can't remember a time where she really got wobbled or a punch landed where I went, oof, blimey.
I think there was one kick to the face as she was getting back to her feet, maybe.
Okay.
I believe so. I think that was probably the best. Look, I don't want to get confused with the fights. Like I said, I've left this one a bit too long. I think there's a couple of times when she got up where she was open for a left head kick as she was pushing on the canvas to get back up. And I think one of them, she did throw it and got it in. So she did get done once, I'm sure, wobbly once. That I remember. It could have been 20 times. I don't know. Listen, that was a boring fight for me, that. But Holm did good in it, if you like. I mean,
Well, look, she did good as in, she outstruck her opponent and she outgrappled her opponent. So if you like, it's a complete victory. I showed dominance in all aspects of the game. Like I said, I don't know why Aldana was even in there anyway. Sort of that higher sort of caliber fight, so to speak.
Well, we only say that now. We sort of, what happened, I suppose. If she'd done amazing or done better, you'd go, yeah, I know why she was in there. But I know what you mean. You have to have a reason to put someone in there before they go in there.
I hated everything about that fight. Everything. But at the same time
everything.
As well.
What about the punches? The punches at the end of round 5. Were they good?
What about the what?
Punches at the end of round 5. The Holm punches up against the cage with like a few seconds left to go. Do you remember those?
No, I don't remember.
I think it'd be your favourite bit in any fight. I think you'd have loved it.
Right.
She does the noises, doesn't she? So it was like, done loads of noises, done a Jan Jacek up against the fence with loads of shouts when there was like 2 seconds left. It's like, yeah, all right. Yeah, you know what it is? What is it? Putting a
stamp on it.
That's it. That's the thanks, mate. Yeah, putting a stamp on the fight. That's what she did.
I do like the fact that Holm was a boxer, and she has got good kicks, and she does do. If anything, her
they are good kicks. You're right.
Yeah, and she is actually a good grappler now. I'd actually say that's kind of the area where she seems to have a lot of dominance over the sort of fight against, was it Nunez, where she sort of there was the it was up against the cage, wasn't it? That kind of stuff. But I
think the takedowns are crap, actually.
Yeah, but what
I think the grappling's all right. I think the takedowns are pretty crap. But you look at the bod, like you've said before, maybe she'd be better suited to something like CrossFit and everything because of the strength, the build. So that's probably why she's right to start, throwing people about a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely a whatever you want to call it, a bit of a specimen.
Yeah.
But let's have a look here. Holm, total strikes 187, have landed of 342.
Okay. Do that as a percentage. So 342, it's less than half landed.
55%. just over.
Oh,
just
more
over.
than so more than half. So I'm definitely
Yeah.
not real at maths, and I.
Aldana 92 of 210, so that's 44%. Significant strikes. Well, I'd argue that neither of them deserve to get into double figures here, but Holm 154 of 301, 51%, and Aldana 69 of 185, so that's 37%. And Holm obviously had 5 takedowns as well.
This is over 5 rounds as well, not a 3-rounder, remember?
Yes, I mean, Aldana was on average throwing 40 punches a round, essentially 42 punches a round. So if you take 5 minutes into each round, you're looking at 8 punches a minute. I mean, it's not good enough to win any fight, really, unless you're
They weren't getting in
on grappling exchanges. It's just not enough. Or unless you're fighting Tyron Woodley, in which case it's enough for a shutout. But
yeah,
40 punches around. Like I say, 8 punches a minute. You can burn 8 punches in a clinch in seconds. You can burn 8 punches in 2 combinations. To think there was no stage in the fight where there was she let her hands go, through 20 punches in a minute, which meant that she only had to throw 6 a minute for the rest of the fight to hit that total. Just not enough output. You're never going to win a fight with that kind of output.
the truth is, it wouldn't have made no difference throwing loads of punches because Holm weren't there to be hit, really, was she? Moving about and whatever, so she couldn't get in range to do anything anyway. I don't know why. Okay, so I'll ask you. What should she have done? I'll give you the classic line, cut off the cage and all that. How do you stop someone?
I'll give you an even more classic line. Should have got COVID. Just dodged the fight.
Bloody hell, mate. Jeez. Too much.
I ain't gonna harm someone of
too much. That's the sort. You know what? That's the sort of thing that Hick says. That's a Hick line. He actually said today, right, that he was doing machines. It's actually what he said, which means he was on the toilet. And I don't want to make it up, but he said. But I'm going to quickly have a look at what he said because it was a good one. So he said he was doing on the toilet. I don't know why he told me that. Well, maybe he has no issue telling me that because, I've got no issue with that either. I probably told him the same thing. But he said he's done them and finished them. Measure that for COVID, you waterboard scum.
Measure that for COVID, you waterboard scum.
Yeah, so he's flushed it and he's selling the waterboard, Take that.
Oh.
Then he said he's had to have some more and it ain't over and he regrets that comment because he's starting to worry. Brilliant.
I think that's a sign that you've got COVID, that you start dumping a lot.
Yeah, but he's like that. He only has to have, I don't know, a little mark on his arm and he goes, oh, no. So, yeah, look, that's what he said. So he's waterboarded himself. He fixed take that. He was all happy about it until, he was back on it again. So there you go.
I'm worried saying. Well, look.
We're talking about oh, yeah, because the Hick says nasty things and you've just said something really horrible. And it wasn't.
No, only because it was just a bad matchup for her. So it would have been better off if she didn't have this matchup. She could have fought someone else in the top 5, like a Raquel Pennington or something.
She did have it, by the way.
Sorry?
She did have it, Aldana, during the fight camp.
That's right, yeah.
She just cleared it up before the fight, yeah.
She was supposed to because they were supposed to headline fight card a few weeks prior, weren't they? But,
okay. Yeah. Okay. The same matchup, right?
Yeah, it got shifted back. But it's just a shame, didn't get cancelled for her. It's just a bad matchup for her. She's fought Pennington before. It was she lost on a tight decision, so it would have been better if she fought someone like Pennington again.
Blimey,
would have given her a better chance of winning, and keeping her slot. But fighting just bad.
She ain't going to get rid of her slot. She's not going to do a trans, is she?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but she, you don't, just bad matchup for her, isn't it?
Okay, takedowns aside, let's keep it on the feet, right? I'm fighting Holly Holm. He comes in, does the odd pity pats, comes in, comes out, does the leg move dance, as you know. Moves generally to, I can't remember the direction, but goes one direction or the other, or keeps circling. What do I do? You're the corner man, you're my coach. What do I do? Take takedown. She's no takedown. She's going to stay on the feet. How do I stop that? How do I get in range, start to get some attacks going? If all the person does is pitter pat, go out, and then keep circling either direction, whatever. How do I fix this problem?
This is
Tell
why
me
you
what
have
to
a fight.
do.
This is why you have a fight camp and why you work on game plans and this, that, and the other. So I can't really
Okay.
answer without studying Holm and closely and figuring out. I know a rough.
No, but you've seen that fight, right? And now I'm in the corner, right?
But once, what I'm saying is, once you're actually in a fight, you can't then all of a sudden go, why don't you try this technique or
So
try
there's
this?
no fixing it then. That's what you're telling me.
It's something that hasn't been drilled beforehand because it's not going to come naturally. What I would, is, as a general rule, like I say, I don't.
No, but I'm supposed to know roughly how to fight.
Yeah, what I would say is in Holm's previous fights, and by the way she competes, she is someone that is overly cautious. Not overly cautious, that's the wrong way of putting it, because she does win most of fights and she's obviously good, right?
Doesn't.
But what I mean by that is she will, take care of the defensive aspect of her game before the offensive aspect. She's not a Jeremy Stevens. I'll bring him up again. He's someone who will go into the hornet's nest, whereas Holm is a bit more, I'll stay out of the hornet's nest and I'll let the hornets come to me. So while some people will go, that's a bad game plan because you're just going to play into a counter puncher's playbook if you become overly aggressive. My position for Aldana would have been, you ain't winning this fight with grappling, right? You've proved that in the first, let's just say, couple of rounds.
Yeah.
You're not going to win it by sitting back and just letting her, strike and then get back out of range, right? That's just not going to happen. Right. So what you need to do now is you need to give her something to be wary of and conscious of. So you need to ring her bell at least once. And the way you're going to do
keeps moving.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. You need to either be extra aggressive, so throw punches, even if you're going to throw punches, say, that are slightly out of range to get her thinking in a defensive capacity, so blocking, retreating, or what have you. So even throwing punches that are perhaps slightly out of range that you don't expect to necessarily land, but they enable you to come forward a bit more, close the distance, and perhaps land a couple of strikes on the end of those combinations. So I would say throw punches in bunches, be extra aggressive, be first, and I don't think it changes much to change the flow of a fight. If you can land a good solid strike, it will get Holly Holm thinking more defensively, more that she needs to be cautious. And so that's what I would have done.
Okay, but what I'm telling you...
for want of a better term, throw caution to the wind.
All right, but what I'm telling you is, right, and I'm pretending I'm Aldana here, right? What I'm saying to you is, thanks, but I can't give her something to worry about, or they make her respect my power and this, that, and the other, because I can't get to her because all she's doing is the circle, circle, circle. How do I fix that problem of her moving? Because obviously when I go to go forward to throw strikes, she's either circling to the left or circling to the right. Now, I know they call it cutting off the cage or whatever. How'd you do that? How do I do it? Because now she's just gone. Say she goes to my right. Well, she's gone now, right? My forward is now gone. How do I stop her? Now, someone might go, I guess the obvious thing is, well, you block that motion. You go to my right and block that. But I couldn't manage it. So how'd you cut someone off? Is there a technique? If they're just going to keep circling, how am I ever going to win this fight or get a strike in?
I mean, cutting the cage or cutting a ring off is pretty simple.
Well, let's have it. That's what I'm asking you.
Well, it's about making minor territorial gains until you basically create a bottleneck in the cage.
Yeah. Easier in a square than a circle? I know it's an octagon, but essentially.
I would say so, yeah.
Okay.
Because I've never fought inside a cage or an octagon or a circle.
Common sense says
there's not a...
Unless you're Dos Santos.
There's not a corner to be cornered in, so to speak. But yeah, it's about making slight gains each time. And that's why it can be frustrating when you get sometimes, say, a fighter who their defensive maneuver is, say, for example, if someone fires out a jab, it's to step out of range. because all you're doing there is therefore always giving them an out. Every time they just throw a jab, they know you're going to step back out of range, and you'd have to start from square one again. You have to make little territorial gains back from square one. So the way you obviously do it is you work your way in behind your jab, which is obviously just not really used much in MMA, but you work your way in behind a jab, say in boxing terms, disguising that you're moving your feet closer and closer each time, getting someone pinned more and more on the ropes.
Yeah.
And then as it's like, say, a running track, if you're on the ropes, you're on the outside lane of the running track. So you have further to go than the person on the inside of the ring. So if you think about it, that's why it's not actually that difficult to cut off the cage or the ring, because I have less ground to cover in order to trap you, so to speak, than you have to cover to get away from me.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was watching the Klitschko Joshua fight, and I was chatting with some friends at the time, and they were going, "Oh, Joshua's winning this easy."
Well, they were obviously non-real mates, because I don't remember having this chat.
Yeah, well, you weren't watching the fight because it was pay-per-view. But
all right, that's true.
But I was saying I wouldn't be so sure, because Joshua was on the outside of the ring, and he was doing a lot of footwork. He was, on the outside lane, if you like, of the track.
Okay.
And I was like, big muscly guy like that's going to cost him later in the fight. And we did eventually win the fight, so it shows what I know. But he did come unstuck towards the end of the fight. And so if you're on that outside track, the person on the inside has only got to make slight little angled adjustments to keep you to trap you across, on the cage or in the corner. Now, the other thing you can do is, if you get someone who has a real tendency to circle in one direction. So say you're saying that Holm always circles out to her right. What you can do is make sure that even if you don't intend, obviously you intend on it landing, but even if it's not a shot that you feel is going to necessarily land, what you can do is throw left hooks. What those left hooks do, if she's good, she'll manage to duck under those left hooks and still escape out the back door. But as you know, ducking and slipping is a more difficult thing than just putting your gloves up against your temple or blocking or stepping back.
Yeah.
So if you throw a left hook, it immediately squares someone up on the ropes or cage. So circling out to her right, if you throw a left hook, it immediately it stops her circling out that way, because she's got an obstacle to go out that way. She's got that left hook to deal with. And if she doesn't deal with it, as in duck under it or circle out under it or what have you, or slip out the side of it, then she basically is now squared up on the fence. And therefore, you've got someone trapped against the fence you can then start unloading punches on. So you have to, it's a combination of throwing the right shots at the right time, moving your feet at the right time, but it's not a particularly difficult thing to do.
Okay. Well, then that goes to show.
The difficulty in it comes from the other person. Okay, so if I'm trying to cut someone off in a ring, on a cage, but they are good at slipping shots, ducking shots, and also they throw offensive shots when they feel their back hit the rope, so they give me a problem to deal with. That's when it can become a bit more difficult. But Holm's not a massive puncher. She's not someone that I would say to Aldana, you might have to eat a punch or two here in order to square her up or get her on that cage or cut the cage off. But just to do what you're doing, plodding around in the middle of the cage for 25 minutes, it's just no good for anyone.
Well, that's quite telling then. Because what you said makes sense. So the first thing that made a lot of sense, I've never thought about, is the circumference of the area. That if you measured, the very next to the cage, it would be more than, the distance would be more than if you, say, stepped 1.5 meters backwards. Now the distance would be shorter, right? Like you said, on a racetrack, makes sense. But now you've explained how you would do it. I'm sorry to say, it says something about Aldana's, the level she's at, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you can get to a point where you just feel that, I think maybe she felt that Holm was better in her in all aspects, and she didn't know how to handle it. I'm not suggesting she doesn't know how to cut off a cage or cut off a ring. I'm saying that she doesn't know how to do it when she's also getting out grappled, getting out struck, and having to deal with all those other tangibles as well. But like I say, the cutting off rings and cages, like if you get an aggressive fighter, I'm going to bring him up again because he's just, the guy of the show, Jeremy Stevens, right? You'll see that people like him who will use some head movement and stuff like that to close the distance generally doesn't want to, if someone throws a punch at him, he doesn't want to just back off, because that undoes all the hard work he's done creeping forward or moving forward or against the cage.
Yeah.
By just stepping back, it undoes all that hard work done. But there was nothing, I am going to say that I don't think Aldana knows how to cut off the cage, because there was nothing in her footwork to suggest that she does.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you said that you can't fix it during the fight, but that's a pretty normal thing to know, and you should have trained it regardless, because that person can just pull that out of the bag. Maybe it was, maybe the previous fight, or you watched all the tape and that person didn't keep circling, and this time they do. You should be able to go, okay, look, just keep circling. We didn't come here for that. Didn't know that was going to happen. Start cutting off the cage. Do you know what I mean? That's what you'd think, being a UFC high caliber professional fighter and corner team would be able to just switch on. I didn't ask somebody who has no jiu-jitsu to go, you need to start doing some jiu-jitsu, or you need to start wrestling if you don't know wrestling, or you need to do kicks if you've never thrown a kick. We're talking about, I don't know, it's basic stuff, right? Striking fundamentals, yeah? Agreed?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there will be levels to it. People are better than others.
Absolutely.
Tricks and this and the other, but the basic principle of cutting off a ring or a cage is, it's something that you should be learning, within the first year of it's one of the basic sort of foundation principles you should be learning, especially if you're an aggressive fighter. I mean, it's
to me, there was plenty of time on the feet. I agree that, your brain gets a bit scrambled. Oh, now this, now I'm up against the fence, now I'm on the floor, etc., etc. But there were plenty of time on the feet with all that circling about that I think she could have done something. And I'm sure when she watches it, she'll think the same. And I'm sure when she listens to this, because I don't know when she's going to listen to it, she'll go, that's how you do it. I think of it as a racetrack. That's what I've just listened to Yelland, and it's all become clear, because the coach probably hasn't used the racetrack analogy. I've not heard it before. You wouldn't have used it before, right? Because you could use that for the square ring, but it works better for a cage. So again, this is the advice I'm going to give to these people. Listen, it ain't just about, our show's not just about the fights that happened and this person won and that person won and who they're going to fight next and what rankings this one and what about this for a matchup. Listen, that's sort of part of it, but we're more into the technical aspects and what's happened, That's all. So if you want a bit...
Talking of the rankings, that's a horrible division there.
Yeah, is that the one that, Nunes is in 2 of them or whatever, got belt in 2 of them? That'd be one of them, right?
Yeah. But that division, I mean, strawweight's Weili Zhang in it.
And Jan Jacek and
Kenko is flyweight. And
you just said one, Pennington before that. You said
bantamweight is Nunes, but she's also featherweight champ. But there's no one in that division, I don't think. But I mean, the top 10 of this division, Marion Renault, Sarah McMahon. Sarah McMahon
doesn't even fight. I didn't even know she was in it.
At this point, she looks strong and really good grappling stuff. But she just looks like she can be shut down with one hard strike, mentally shut down with one hard strike.
I really thought she was going to be amazing.
Yeah, and I think she can look amazing at times. She really does look powerful and all that. But it's just, I've seen a couple of fights where she gets pinged and it's almost like, you can see that little switch in her brain goes, oof, I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah.
But, McMahon, Kunitskaya, Caitlin Vieira, we saw the other week, Pena, Aldana, Pennington, Aspen Ladd, who I don't get the hype around Aspen Ladd at all. Holly Holm, Randamie. I mean, it's just, you kind of look at it and you go, well, you've got no choice but to give Holly Holm her 18th title shot because,
And for some reason, Holm can't be in a fight unless it's a main event. That is an agreement.
Yeah, I know. Mad, isn't it?
And I guess that's what you're questioning. It's like, why does it have to be a main event? I mean, it doesn't matter. He didn't have another one. She's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe you should check. I don't know if she's in any 3-round fights. I guess she would be if McGregor was on the card and she wasn't fighting for a belt. But she's always in main events.
Well, you got Ronda Rousey fights. That was a 5-rounder because it was for the belt. Then you had Misha Tate. That was for the belt. She lost.
You had
Then you had Valentina Shevchenko. That was a 5-rounder. Then you had she fought for the belt against the Randamie. So that's a 5-rounder. Then she fought Betche Correia.
That couldn't have been a 5-rounder.
It was a 5-rounder because she was the main event.
See what I mean?
Then she fought for the featherweight title, so that was a 5-rounder. Then she had a 3-rounder against Megan Anderson.
Okay.
That's her only one so far.
Right.
And then she had a 5-rounder, I think.
See?
Yeah, because it was a bantamweight title against Nunez. So there was that one, and then she had a decision against Pennington. So that was a non-5-rounder, and then she had a 5-rounder. So only 2 non since the Rousey fight.
And do me a favour. So check the Pennington, and I can't remember the other one, the 2 3 rounds, and tell me are you able to go in and tell me what the main event was?
Yeah, I mean the one where she, the Pennington one. I mean, she was the co-main for McGregor versus Cerrone.
Right. I was actually going to say before this, unless McGregor's on it or something, and there you go. There's one of them. Yeah. Next.
Yeah, and the other one, she wasn't even co-main because it was Covington versus Dos Anjos. Was that a title eliminator? Was it Covington Dos Anjos?
Oh, it might have been when Covington got the interim.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, interim. It was when he got his interim belt. So that was 5 rounds.
So there you go. So it's a champ.
And Whitaker Romero.
Right. So there you go then. So basically, unless they've got something really major, she's always the main event and always 5 rounds. That is it. I mean, like you say, I don't know. They know, right, how popular she is. You don't, I don't. They know. So they wouldn't keep doing it, would they? And let's be honest, she's done nothing. That fight that's just happened, that hasn't put her down at all. I mean, if anything, I'd say that it's, barring the Rousey head kick, I'd say that it's her best performance. Can't think of a better one apart from the Rousey. They're all crap. But this one was actually, she did good. And she also did the Winklejohn backflip. I bet you like that, don't you?
Oh, I was going to bring that up. I can't stand that.
I knew you'd hate it. It is crap. Making space.
I quite liked the Misha Tate fight, but that might have been just more for the ending. Was quite dramatic and all that.
That one was all right. She was mashing her up and then got submitted.
I quite like Holm in many ways. I find it just very entertaining.
Well, all right.
I mean, I can see that she's a really elite, well-trained fighter and a physical specimen. Fights just don't match it. I just find them pretty boring. Like I say, that might be her best one. Was since then.
It's a good performance. There's no doubt about it.
She knocked out Betche.
Oh yeah, she did. I remember it was sort of on the floor and a couple of punches to the head, and Betche sort of went, "No." I agreed it. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
You sort of went, "No, that'll do."
Floor and then
brilliant. And we won't get to see Betche again. Well, I hope we do. Hopefully she'll get the itch and be back.
That's it. Most of them do.
So to end this, I'll go with the upcoming events. This one's a bit of a moot point, but we'll say it anyway, because imagine you hadn't seen it. Moraes versus Sanhagen is the next one, which we'll talk about. Then this weekend coming is Ortega versus Korean Zombie.
Looking forward to that.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good one, right?
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, that's got all the hype behind it. If you remember, Ortega slapped the J Park translator when Chang Yong-jung went to the toilet.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, brilliant.
It is a good one, isn't it?
I think Thomas Almeida's fighting again. I mean, he was really good, and he hasn't fought for
brilliant.
Ages. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They ain't fought for 2.5 years or something.
Wow, I wonder why. Interesting. Then after the week after, it's Khabib versus Gaethje. Obviously, that's amazing. And then after that, on the 31st of October, is Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva. Brilliant.
Yeah, good little run of main events. So that there's not much. There's not much meat behind that Zombie versus Ortega card, but don't matter. But
that's a real good one, isn't it? That fight.
Yeah, it's good enough for that alone. So yeah.
It sure is. Right. Well, that's that card done. On to the next one. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, you said this wouldn't be long, this one. I bet you it's absolute length. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's see it.
okay, but okay. I agree. I think it will be, but don't forget, this isn't just about the fights. That's what I'm saying. There's meat on the bones there. There's information. If people listen to it, they'd go, look, I listened to this, not just because I want to know who's fighting next and what happened. Look at the stuff we spoke about. You know what I mean? If you want to learn stuff and you want something beyond, we should call it Beyond the Fights.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. Okay. So there's stuff there. If you listen to it, there's stuff there. And I can prove it, but only if you listen to it. If you don't listen to it, I can't prove now. But there's stuff there. I'll see you later. Thanks very much. I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, man. Laters.
A lot.
Yeah.